are watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq sends a cable of greetings to the President of Zambia on his country's independence anniversary. The United Nations announces that the two Libyan warring parties signed a ceasefire agreement in Geneva. And the COVID-19 pandemic overshadows the final debate of the U.S. presidential race. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq Al Said sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency President Edgar Lungu of Zambia on his country's independence anniversary. The Geological Society of Oman and the Royal Geographical Society in London held the 5th annual Oman Natural Heritage Lecture by video conference. Here's a report.
Healthcare institutions in the Sultanate continues its efforts to deal with the cases of emerging coronavirus, while this COVID-19 pandemic is having a major toll on people's well-being to confront challenges such as social distancing, loneliness, and infectious diseases outbreak itself. So, following preventive measures is the key to cut down the transmission of this virus.
Since COVID-19 started to spread globally, our healthcare institution, along with other healthcare institutions, executed plan very well. And we have been successful in implementing our work well. Though there is pressure due to high number of patients, our staff still are professional and committed. I would like to thank them for their commitment.
It has been 7 months since we have started receiving COVID-19 patients. The workload has increased on the staff, including doctors and nurses. Beside the stress of workload, the staff has another stressors. One of them is those patients who are with COVID-19 patients are a special type of patient. You will see them in the ward suffering, in the ICU suffering. The fact is that there is no definitive treatment for this disease. So the treatment is mainly supportive. Some of the patient make it and improve quickly, but some of them, they will suffer for a long time. The other stressor is that because it's an infectious disease, there is a fear of easily contracting this disease while working in taking care of COVID-19 patients. They are not only afraid for themselves, but also afraid of getting this disease to their families. No one will want to be a reason for his family suffering.
We are happy that a clear pathway has been created in the hospital to all visitors, which is providing them to go to the possible proper place. And this pathway played a big role to prevent the transmission of infection. The procedure has been followed very well and things are going smoothly.
We are committed to our work. Unfortunately, the situation of increasing number of patients has affected us and some were infected, including myself, which was very difficult for me and my family. I hope the public will stick to the preventive measures.
There are many challenges we are facing in the COVID-19 world. One of the challenges is shortage of the nursing staff, which is considered a basic pillar in caring for the patient. The number of the beds and current number of the nursing staff does not match with and residents. Please follow preventive measures.
As a nursing supervisor, yesterday I finished my duty here from hospital around 10 p.m. I moved to my house and I faced Royal Oman police personnel. They allow me to go without stopping. This indicates that they do their work, we do our work, and the aim is one, to protect our community and to follow the precautionary measurements.
It's our national duty to preserve the safety of all. Please follow safety measures to stay safe and healthy.
To the public, please consider us and follow the precautions.
most of the COVID-19 cases have respiratory complication. So we are, as physiotherapy, we have an important role to optimize the oxygenation and to ensure there is equal distribution of the air to different parts of the lungs so the patient recover much faster. We wish them a speedy recovery. So you, please follow the precautionary measures.
From Rustak Hospital Governorate of South Al-Batina, I'm Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rubi'i, Sultanate of Oman Television.
The United Nations said today that the two sides in Libyan military talks had reached a historic achievement with a permanent ceasefire agreement across the war-torn North African country. After mediation this week led by the UN envoy for Libya, Stephanie Turco-Williams, the 5+5 Joint Military Commission reached what the UN called an important turning point towards peace and stability in Libya. Libya is split between a UN-supported government in the capital Tripoli and rival authorities based in the east. Williams, a former U.S. State Department official, said in Arabic at the signing ceremony that the road to a permanent ceasefire deal was often long and difficult. The meetings this week marked the fourth round of talks involving the Joint Military Commission under Williams' watch. The Geneva-based military talks come ahead of a political forum in Tunisia in November. That forum aims to generate consensus on a unified governance framework and arrangement that will lead to the holding of the national elections. President Donald Trump and rival Joe Biden began a sprint through the final 11 days of the U.S. presidential race today after battling over the COVID-19 pandemic and personal integrity in their second and final debate. The 74-year-old Trump will hold two rallies in the battleground state of Florida, where opinion polls show a tight race. Biden, who is 77, will deliver a speech in his hometown of Delaware on his plans for leading a recovery from the pandemic. More than 49 million Americans already have cast ballots in person or through the mail. That is more than one-third of the total number of votes casted in 2016, giving Trump, who is trailing in national opinion polls, fewer opportunities to change minds before the voting ends on November the 3rd. In their debate last night, Biden renewed his frequent campaign trail attacks on Trump's handling of the coronavirus pandemic, which has killed more than 221,000 people in the United States and cost millions their jobs. Israeli warplanes struck suspected military targets in the Gaza Strip before dawn today, following rocket fire from the blockaded Palestinian territory. Fighter jets and other aircraft struck a weapons manufacturing site and underground infrastructures operated by Hamas, which has controlled the territory since 2007. An informal truce brokered by Egypt and the United Nations with the financial support of Qatar has been in force since the late 2018. It has been broken several times but has been restored on each occasion. The U.S. Army said it carried out a drone strike against Al-Qaeda leaders in northwestern Syria near the Turkish border, killing 17 people. 5 of them are civilians. The Britain-based observatory said the operation, which targeted a dinner meeting of Al-Qaeda leaders in the village of Jakara in the Salqin area. The village lies in Idlib, which is dominated by the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham group led by the former Al-Qaeda affiliate and its rebel allies. A U.S.-led coalition is present in the east of the country, where its airstrikes have backed Kurdish-led forces battling the remnants of the Daesh group. The novel coronavirus has killed at least 1.14 million people since the outbreak emerged in China last December. At least 41.77 million cases of coronavirus have been registered. Out of these, more than 28.5 million are now considered recovered. The United States is the worst affected country with 223,059 deaths from 8.4 million cases. After the US, the hardest hit countries are Brazil with 155,900 deaths, India with 117,306, Mexico 87,894, and the United Kingdom with 44,347 deaths. Europe recorded more than 258,076 deaths, Asia 163,769, the Middle East 55,358, and Africa 40,738 deaths. The Geological Society of Oman and the Royal Geographical Society in London held the 5th annual Oman Natural Heritage Lecture by video conference. Here's a report.
We are now live from the Royal Geographical Society in London.
In association with the Anglo-Omani Society, the Oman Cave Exploration Group and the Geographical Magazine in UK, the Geological Society of Oman and the Royal Geographical Society in London held the 5th annual Oman Natural Heritage Lecture, which came under the theme, The 800 Million Year Story of Oman's Unique Geology and Caves. The lecture was held online and attracted geologists and members of the geographical societies in Oman and UK.
We know how hard you work in the field.
At the beginning of the virtual conference, Dr. Saif Shaksi, Director Field Research Center for Environmental Conservation, thanked the presenters and commended the work of the researchers. Then, His Royal Highness Prince Michael of Kent, in his speech, highlighted his past experience when he was in Oman.
I have fond memories of traveling through the distinctive mountains surrounding the Sharqiya Sands as a member of the Royal Geographical Society's survey team in the 80s. Tonight you'll be getting an update on recent discoveries by scientists in Oman and their pioneering fieldwork.
Geographical science contributes to long-term planning for tourism, sustainable tourism. So many of my friends refer to the Hajar Mountains in Oman as the Alps of the Middle East. Everybody wants to go there. So in the future, so long as they're being protected and available and done in a sustainable way, nature and the geological heritage, I think will be a big attraction.
Recent discoveries in cave systems in Oman, as well unique geographical features of Oman, was highlighted. Abdullah bin Ahmed al-Rubi'i, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat.
This is the Sultanate of Oman Television. Before we end tonight's news bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq sends a cable of greetings to the President of Zambia on his country's independence anniversary. The United Nations announces that the two Libyan warring parties signed a ceasefire agreement in Geneva. And the COVID-19 pandemic overshadows the final debate of the U.S. presidential candidates. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom at the studios, we're sorry for the technical error and have a good night.